Thanks so much for staying there. Daily Graphic, the Ghanaian Times, Daily Guide, The Finder, and the BNFT are the news I have this morning. From the NDC leaked tape, Mahama defends Ofosu Ampofo, justifies attacks on Peace Council chair. To prepare emergency plan, President tasks National Security and Interior Ministry and Council of State to meet President over import duties and taxes. That's the Daily Graphic. The Finder stays on the aluminium industry. Vibrant aluminium industry is a must. President charges Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation Board. That's the story. And you might have seen the documentary on child labor on the part of the Volta Lake. The government protest CNN documentary. Parties agree to collaborate on the sequel. If you've been following that, I'm sure you know why government is protesting. And the BNFT says PPA investigates botched snake antivenom procurement. The Ghanaian Times stays on the vigilantism issue. Catholic bishops slam vigilantes, call on public to promote peace and security, and secretary to the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Illegal Mining steps aside. Those are some of the stories I have this morning. My team for the discussion this morning, Eric Chum is a member of the NPP's team. Eric, good morning.
Good morning, Brian.
And hope you had a good weekend.
I did. How about you?
It was fantastic.
You've gone into hibernation for
Yes, I went to the Western North region.
What was happening there?
Yeah, we're just visiting there. It's a new
lobbying
place.
for a position.
Maybe.
Tell us, we can lobby
that's
for
okay.
you.
I was in the Bodi district,
okay.
visiting my people there.
Is that where you come from?
No.
Oh,
you know
okay.
me and my rural people.
Oh, okay.
All right, grateful. Thanks for joining us. And then I also have the NDC's team member here, Felix Twatiofosu, a former deputy minister. Good morning.
Good morning.
And hope you're doing great.
I'm okay. I can't complain.
Thanks for joining us. Now, let's start our conversation today. Let's take a look at this story. The Ghanaian Times this morning says that the secretary to the committee, the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, has stepped aside. If we take a look at the story on page 17, it says that Mr. Charles Bisu has stepped aside from his position pending investigations into corruption allegations leveled against him. He's been cited for corruption and misconduct in a documentary by Tiger IPI titled Galamsey Fraud, an allegation he has vehemently denied. According to him, I would like to state at the very outset that I am innocent of the allegations leveled against me, as I was not and have not been engaged in any act of corruption, criminality, or misconduct, Mr. Bisu said in a release. He said that despite the denial, he has informed the president and chairman of IMCIM, Professor Frimpong Boateng, of his decision to step aside pending investigations into the allegations. He is welcoming government decision to get the matter investigated and express his readiness to avail himself at any time to the investigation process. That's the story carried by the Times and some other news. Eric, let me give you the chance to, first of all, to respond perhaps on the side of government. Some have suggested that apart from him stepping aside, government should relieve him of his job as a presidential staffer. What's your take?
Well, thank you very much. Good morning to yourself and then to Felix and also to the viewers out there. I think that when it comes to these things, it's important that we're very cautious in how it's approached. Especially, and I keep saying that because we've decided to pursue the rule of law and democracy as the basis for our governance, it's important that regardless of how we feel about issues, the processes that are meant to go through, one is meant to go through for you to be found guilty of something should be allowed to. Otherwise, we create a certain situation where people are unduly given certain tags, and essentially once somebody makes an allegation of wrongdoing, essentially guilty. So as far as I'm concerned, I think that Mr. Bisu has shown some resolve by actually deciding to step aside for investigations to continue. I also know for a fact that the Tiger IPI have actually stated that they've sent the evidence that they have to the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Mr. Bisu seems to believe strongly that the allegation that's been leveled against him is not the case, and that he has every right to also, as far as I'm concerned, to defend himself and get to the bottom of the matter, so that I believe strongly, especially the fight to stem the menace of Galamsey, which I believe strongly that every well-meaning Ghanaian would support, would continue. So again, you can come up with all sorts of reasons why maybe he should be relieved of his position as a presidential staffer and all of those things. But that, for me, it's something that is a prerogative of the president.
Is it good for the presidency to keep him?
Well, as we speak now, I would not even be able to tell if he's relieved of his position as a presidential staffer or not. But I'm saying that because the issue is actually out there in the public domain, and he has actually come out to step aside for investigations to continue, and then also has actually advocated for that to happen. I mean, and there's somebody who is saying that he's really not guilty of what he's been accused of, then let's allow the processes to continue, and then let's get to the point where once it's established that some culpability is established, then the ensuing either repercussions or whatever would come. So I don't have a challenge with that. I always believe that we need to give every single Ghanaian the opportunity to defend themselves. And sometimes when it does happen, when people are actually almost tried in the court of public opinion, in the court domain, that suggests that once an allegation is made, you are guilty, is extremely dangerous. And it's because even if one innocent person is actually taken through a process and is actually convicted of something that they haven't done, that is a travesty of justice as far as I'm concerned. That's why it's imperative that we would stick to the processes, we adhere to the tenets of rule of law, and allow every Ghanaian to, as a citizen, to enjoy some of these rights that are, open to them. Now, once it's established that it's wrong, and I think that government position is very clear, and I was very categorical that anybody found capable of indulging in any act that actually is in abeyance with the fight against Galamsey and is seen to have indulged in some kind of corrupt, fraudulent activity will be held accountable. As far as I'm concerned, the Office of Special Prosecutor is an agency under government, right? So if we are looking at it from that perspective, then that process itself has been activated so that whoever is found culpable, the evidence is adduced, they go there, they also bring their counter arguments also, and if it's found that they have indulged in anything that should be punished, they should be punished.
I'm grateful. Felix, a legal practitioner, Mr. Martin Kpebu, is arguing based on the fact that he thinks that, for instance, after the Brazil 2014 World Cup Commission, and which the then sports minister, Mr. Evans Afri-Yankra, was sent to the presidency, that decision hurt the Mahama administration. His argument, therefore, is that take Mr. Bisu from the presidency.
Well, I think that Mr. Kpebu and others completely misrepresent the facts when they speak that way. It's important that no adverse findings were made against Elvis Afri-Yankra, following which he was sent to the Flagstaff House.
He was sent there before the findings.
Please, don't do this. Don't do this.
Okay, all right.
Mr. Elvis Afri-Yankra was the subject of a reshuffle during the 2014 World Cup. The World Cup had not ended when he was reshuffled from the Ministry of Sports to the presidency as a presidential staffer. The commission had not begun its work when he was reshuffled. So all those claims are blatantly false. It is propaganda churned out by MPP propagandists, which unfortunately appears to have sunk into the heads of a number of people who constantly repeat it as if it is fact. So it is important that you use this platform to clarify that. He was not sent to the presidency as a reward for any wrongdoing that he was found.
Okay. What about the argument that he should have taken him from the presidency after the commission?
Let me speak to the substantive point. You need to have established clear wrongdoing against the man. If it does not happen, you cannot say that he should be taken out of the Flagstaff House only because NPP propagandists are jumping over themselves and making claims. You understand the point I'm making? I'm saying that it is propaganda that unfortunately you in the media have failed to verify and constantly repeat. So once a clarification has been brought, you need to accept it and speak to the facts. That's the point.
That's what I'm giving the chance.
But you see, the other point, you see, whatever it is that compels or compelled Mr. Bisu to resign from his position on the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining should compel him to resign his position also as presidential staffer. Unless he can say that he has not left his position on the Interministerial Committee as a result of the Anas expose.
That's exactly what.
But then it simply makes his continuous stay in government untenable. I agree with the fundamental premise that every man needs to be heard before he is condemned. At this stage, Mr. Bisu is not a subject of any legal proceedings. So his guilt or otherwise, in terms of a lawful process, has not been established. What we have are very credible allegations of corruption on his part. There is at least prima facie evidence to that effect. And once prima facie evidence is established, it serves as enough basis for some actions to be taken in fulfillment or in compliance with certain basic standards. And one of them is that you cannot continue to be in office whilst you remain under